Hello everyone. In this short video you are about to learn the detailed steps used in improving the quadratic formula by completing the squares method. The message contained in this video is aimed at teaching how to prove the quadratic formula by completing the squares method, and yet it is an indirect way of learning how to solve quadratic equation by the method. This is because all steps presented to treat the general equation ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0 can be applied to other ordinary equations of the same form. Now given ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0, where a, b, c are constants and a naught equals to 0, then the root of the equation x is defined by minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. So proof. Step 1. Step 1. We make the coefficient of x squared unity. We want to make the coefficient of x squared, which is a, we want to make it unity. How do we make it unity? We make it unity by dividing the equation through by a. So this equation will now change to ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. We now divide it through by a. We divide it through by a by n. So it is clear that a will cancel a, leaving us with x squared plus b all over ax plus c all over a equals to 0. So step number 2. Step number 2. We transfer the constant. To right hand side. We transfer the constant to the right hand side of the equation, and our constant is plus c all over n. So when we transfer our constant to the left hand side, automatically the sign has to change. This is positive. When we move it to the other side, it will now change to negative. Therefore, this equation entirely is going to change. X squared plus b all over a x equals to negative c all over a. So step number 3. Step number 3. We take the half of the coefficients of x. We take the half of the coefficient of x we square it and add to both sides. We take the half of the coefficient of x, and the coefficient of x here is b all over a. So we are going to take the half of it, we then square it and add it to both sides. That is to add it here and here. So how do we take the half of the coefficient of x? Let me give you an example. If, for example, you have 2 all over 5, 2 all over 5, and you are asked to take the half of 2 all over 5, what do? You will simply multiply it by 1 over 2, that is a half. That is 1 over 2 times 2 all over 5. So 1 times 2, you get 2. 2 times 5, you get 10. You can simplify it further. This is 1 all over 5, etc. So when we are asked to find or to take the half of the coefficient of x, that is b all over a, they are simply asking us to multiply it by a half. Therefore, this equation is now going to change to x squared plus b all over a x plus 1 all over 2 times the coefficient of x, which is b all over a. So b all over a and square it, because that is what the statement says. You take the half of the coefficient of x, square it, and add to both sides. So we have took the half of the coefficient of x, we square it, and we add it to this side. Now to the other side. To the other side we have negative c all over a, then plus 1 over 2 also times b all over a, we square it also. So simplifying this one further, we now have x squared plus b all over ax plus b times 1 is b, 2 times a is 2a, all squared, negative c all over a plus b all over 2a, all square. So step number 3. So step number 4. This is step number 3, and this is step number 4. Step number 4, factorize. Factorize the left hand side. So we're going to factorize this. Factorizing this one is easy. You don't need to use factorization method or whatever. The only thing you are going to consider here is the first term, which is x. You take it. Then the last term, which is b all over 2a, take the contents. Forget about the square. So you have x plus b all over 2a, all squared. This is the factorization of this entirely. By the time you open this, that is, when you open it up, that is to say, x plus b all over 2a, x plus b all over 2a, this will give you x into x plus b all over 2a, then plus b all over 2a times x plus b all over 2a. When you open it, this is exactly what you're going to obtain. You can try it. So factorizing left hand side, I got x plus b all over 2a all squared. Then there I have negative c all over a plus, now you open this, so b squared 2a squared, you get 4a squared. Is it? So step number 5. Step 5, what do? Step number 5, you take the square root of both sides. Take the square roots of both sides. You take the square root of both sides. How do you take the square root of both sides? X plus b 2a all squared, which is this. Now I'm taking the square root of this side, left hand side. This is what I get. Then plus or minus, because whenever you take the square roots, this plus or minus must appear. Negative c all over a plus b squared 4a squared. So this square will cancel the square root, leaving you with x plus b all over 2a equals to plus or minus. So we now take the LCM here. Here you get the LCM, which is 4a squared. So by the time you divide 4a squared by a will cancel a, leaving you with 4a. So 4a multiplied by a negative c, you get minus 4ac plus, okay, then 4a squared divided by 4a squared. This will cancel this, you get 1. Then 1 multiplied by b squared, you get b squared. Okay, so adjusting this plus or minus, you can change it to, b squared, since this is negative. So you can write it this way: b squared minus 4ac all over 4a squared plus or minus. This will now change to, for convenience, 4ac all over square root of 4a squared plus or minus. So here you get b squared minus 4ac, and the denominator you got 2a, because the square root of 4 is 2. The square root of a squared is a. Therefore, square root of 4a squared, you got 2a. So to make x stand alone, to make x the subject, we now move b all over 2a to the right hand side. So x is now equals to minus b all over 2a plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So taking the common LCM here is 2a. So I got all over 2a. I add whatever is on top, that is negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac. Okay, so finally the root of the equation is now x equals to negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a, which is being proved. Thank you very much.